Okay. We've got a good number in the room, and so we're going to get started. Welcome. My name is Joe Swimmer. I'm Executive Director of Episcopal Parish Network, and thrilled to have you here with us today for this Advent offering, a meditation that is being presented by our partners and friends at Godly Play and Being With. And it's wonderful to have them again. We've done this in the past, and it's just a beautiful way for us to end the year, end our digital workshops for this season. We'll pick up again in January. But we're grateful for all of those of you who have attended previous webinars that we've done. Join us in the future. And please, if you're able, join us for our conference in February, where we'll have more hopeful content for the church. So we're really excited about the next year and about all the opportunities that are ahead for our ministry and with our partners at Being With and Godly Play. And without any further ado, and as I'm freezing up, I'm going to hand it over to Heather and wish everyone a blessed end to Advent and a very Merry Christmas. And we'll see you in January. Thanks so much. And Heather, to you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you all again for joining us. Our hope is that this is an opportunity to take a pause in the midst of what we know is often a very busy season, particularly for you in parish ministry. So we're glad you're here to join us. This will be a little bit different than a typical webinar. It will be an opportunity for some quiet reflection on your own, but also shared reflection together. So looking forward to our time together. I am the executive director for the Godly Play Foundation and joining you all from Portland, Oregon. And we're going to begin with a question about what was the heart of your week. The heart of my week was the creative process. We talk a lot about the creative process in Godly Play, and I was kind of profoundly reminded that the creative process happens in both the beautiful, when I was decorating cookies at a cookie decorating party with my children and just seeing the creativity and joy that came from them. But also in the mundane, as the creative process is seen in accounting systems that we are migrating this week. So I enjoyed the full spectrum of the creative process in different ways. James.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. My name is James Fawcett. I have what feels like a rather grandiose title of head of Being With, and just trying to work out living that out for the remainder of my time on Earth. And Being With is a life-changing way for helping people to consider Christian faith. And so, yeah, that's what that is. And the heart of my week. Well, I feel like the heart of my week is a sad one. I had yesterday to attend a friend and colleague's funeral. She was my age and with a daughter the same age as my daughter. And I feel it was a shock and sudden death. And it feels there's a lot of grief there, obviously, mixed with a sort of Advent time and the church full of joy and carols and crying and grief was a strange experience, but a kind of significant one yesterday. So that feels like that's the heart of my week. We'd like to throw that question over to you. I wonder what the heart of your week is. I wonder what the heart of your week is. Doesn't have to be anything grandiose, or it might just be that you have got mice in your house or something like that. But whatever encapsulates the kind of heart of your week, if you could sum it up in a single word, then please do so and pop that in the chat as a way of helping you to center yourself as you have sat in front of your computer and are getting ready for the next 50 minutes or so. Lovely to hear those coming through. Sickness, joy, grounded, a new cat, bringing joy and peace. Unexpected. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. We're gonna do what we call in godly play, crossing the threshold to prepare for our time together. And in godly play, when we're sitting in circles with children every week on our journey, we call it the journey to the mystery of Christmas. We light a candle, and for this week, we light a candle, the light of the shepherds. So we will light this light of the shepherds today to begin our time together.
In being with, in a being with session, part 2 of the session after we've shared the hearts of our weeks is to do some wandering together, of which we have 4 wanderings normally. And wanderings are just that. They are designed to help us wander. They're not questions with wrong or right answers. They are wanderings, and what we are thinking is as important as what we are feeling. I'm going to lead you through a couple of wanderings tonight. Well, I say tonight, it's the afternoon where you are, maybe where you are, but this evening where I am. And those wanderings are, I wonder where you find most meaning in life. I wonder where you find most meaning in life. And tell about a time you wanted something to last forever. I wonder where you find most meaning in life, and tell about a time you wanted something to last forever. We're going to give you a good 10 plus minutes for this. Heather is also going to share a link for a poll, which you'll be able to fill in your, oh, thanks, Heather. I think that might, I think, just change it to everyone. There we go. Heather is going to put a link to a poll, which you will also be able to complete, add some words to, and we'll display that too. So I'm going to leave you alone for a few minutes now to ponder these 2 things, to wonder. I wonder where you find most meaning in life, and tell about a time you wanted something to last forever.
And feel free in that poll, there's a link. Oh, there's a link in the chat. I will put it there for you all. As you're reflecting, feel free to add a word or phrase to this poll, and it'll create a word cloud for us all.
Thank you. Thank you for those things you shared. I was pondering and wondering as I heard these wonderings again afresh tonight, especially thinking about my friend's funeral yesterday and how she had written to her mum this year, and in writing to her mum, she talked about some of the difficulties in their relationship and how they had planned to have a weekend together to talk about it and talk about kind of restoration of their relationship. And that was so powerful to hear her mum in her tribute to her daughter say those things, and that felt like a really deep place of meaning of in those kind of relationships. Yeah, and the connections we have with one another. How about you, Heather? Any ideas around anything you've been wondering on those two things?
I mean, not surprising, but for some reason always a gift to be reminded of relationships and how much those make up the heart of who we are and what gives us meaning. Just looking at this list and some of the things people shared in the chats around friends and family, and for me particularly children, not only my own children, but the gift of childhood that brings with it a sense of hope and an anticipation, which is heavy on my mind as we journey to Christmas and the hope and anticipation that came in the Christ child. So yeah, just the gift of relationships and the challenge of relationships in the midst of it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Again, it's part of a being with session, of course. We, after our wanderings, we move on to our story. And we're going to do that now. And I've taken a story called Essence, which is the second story that we have on a being with course. And I'm going to read that now. And then we'll have a little bit more time for reflection. So it's called Essence. It is said there are two kinds of people: those who divide the world into two kinds of people and those who don't. In the same way, we can think of two kinds of reality. One kind lasts forever, and the other kind lasts for a limited time. Let's start with what lasts forever. When we identify the heart and soul of something, we use the word essence. When we speak of what's permanent, beyond the temporary, has always been and will always be, we call it essence. Then there's what doesn't last forever. Whether it's around for a week, a year, or 100 years, or a million years, it dies, it disappears. It has a limited span, but it still matters. So we call it existence. We human beings aren't part of essence. We aren't permanent. We fade, we decay and die. We're part of existence. We're not essential. There could be a universe without us. We sometimes think we're eternal and permanent, but we're not. We exist for a while and then we're gone. There might have been no existence. There might have only been essence. Why is there existence? Because essence, which we often call God, chose for there to be existence. God chose for there to be something different, something changing and fickle and extra. That's us, the universe, creation, everything that exists. God could have chosen to create existence, could have chosen not to create existence. Really, that would have seemed more likely. Yet here we are. Existence is pure gift. We did nothing to bring it about, either existence in general or our own. We creatures who are limited and so often shift and change and who only live a short time and in such fragile bodies get to enjoy everything and haven't done a thing to make it possible. We get to enjoy our friends, our divine encounters, our dinners with friends, our vocation, our work with children, our time with family. We get to find meaning in the beauty of liturgy, in a sacred moment, in presence. But this raises perhaps the biggest question of all. Why is there something rather than nothing? Why is there not just essence, but also existence? Here we find a wonderful claim that Christianity makes. On one starry night, displaced by migration in a hostile political climate, surrounded by animals from a young mother, living homeless in a strange town, essence came into existence. God came to be with us. And not just as God, but also as that fragile, additional, changeable bit of creation called humanity. The Word became flesh. Here we discover why there's existence, because God always intended to be our companion, to be with us. That's what the word Jesus represents. God's purpose from before existence to be with us. That decision and desire set in motion the whole mystery of the universe. Jesus isn't an afterthought that came into existence when everything was going badly wrong. Jesus is the whole meaning and purpose in the first place. Jesus is the reason we exist. But we haven't reached the best bit. As we said, not only has God come to be with humankind, but God becomes human too. Jesus is fully human and fully God, and through him we realize that God's final purpose always was to invite us into everlasting life, into essence, into what lasts forever. Jesus is God, stretching out a hand and saying, "Abide with me." This is the moment we realize why there is existence, why everything exists. But then we discover the final purpose of creation. God's hand stretches out a second time in Jesus and invites us to become part of essence, to dwell with God forever, even when all existence has passed away. What an inexpressible gift. And so here we are, tiny, pointless, passing specks in a universe that's bigger than we can even imagine. But the personal quality of essence has chosen to become one of us because of a desire to be with us in a tender, understanding, gentle, humble relationship. And this is the reason for existence in the first place. And this being with, which we call Jesus, shows a new way, a new example for being in relationships. Relationships that are inspired and fueled by the Holy Spirit. The ultimate purpose is for God not just to share existence with us, but to draw us finally into essence and dwell with us forever. And so every time we form, establish, restore, and deepen tender, understanding, gentle, humble relationships with one another, we imitate and anticipate the way God seeks to be with us and glimpse the glory of God.
Thank you, James. There's a lot there. We're going to give you a moment to reflect and pause and invite you to consider, I wonder what is going through your head and your heart. Feel free to share in the chat if you'd like. Thank you for these reflections. Thinking about the circle where essence comes into existence so that we who exist can become essence. In a tender, gentle relationship. And the gift of God becoming one of us. And a big question. If we come from essence and return to essence, how do we lean into essence during our existence and notice essence in others? Going to share with you one final blessing as you sit with these big ideas and wonderings. This is called The Child Who is Coming, and this is an excerpt from a sermon that Reverend Dr. Jerome Berryman gave in 1991 during Advent. So I'm gonna share that with you. We have a
Look up. Raise your heads. Your redemption is drawing near. All the summer and winter of our days is circled about by its possibility. And where is this greatness to be found? It is to be found in smallness. It is to be found in the child. The child who is coming has no words yet. The child is silent, so let us approach in silence, deep silence. The child who is coming sells us no plan. He merely is, and his being draws us into the plan of creation. The child who is coming is curious. His eyes are open wide. He is delighted with everything, even us. There is a force there, an energy of discovery. Let us draw near in wonder. The child who is coming holds out his arms, and we are somehow empowered. Let us draw near and embrace such power. The child who is coming sees a mother and father and us. In the newness of being discovered, we become new. We become parents, even if we have no children. Let us draw near as co-creators. The child who is coming is a king. He rules from the wooden court of a crib to the wood of the cross and makes all things new. Let us draw near with openness to be received in the vastness of such warmth. The child who is coming is all children, and yet only one. This child is so vivid and unique, and yet so transparent. He is love itself. Let us draw near with love. The child who is coming was born so long ago and so far away, and yet right here and now. Let us draw near with curiosity to see how this can be. The child who is coming, like all of us, was born to die, and yet his death was somehow a gate. Let us draw near with honest fear, and yet with hope. The child who is coming is you and you and you and even me. This is the child who can make us free. Let us draw near and discover who we really are.
any final words, thing to share before we close our time together?
I don't think so. Thank you. Thank you. Feels like a sacred time and space to, and I'm holding it in that way and in that regard.
Thank you as well, James, for sharing your heart today in this space where you are in grief and gratitude for a dear friend. Thank you all for sharing and being here with us today as well. I hope that you found a moment of pause and reflection and that you can carry that with you into the coming days as we journey toward Christmas. And now we are going to change the light. So look at this light. It is in one place. And now we're changing the light. And if you can see the smoke filling up this room, and imagine it going out the windows and traveling across the country, across the world, into wherever you are now. And wherever you go today, and as you journey through these last days of Advent, may you be always reminded and invited to come back to the light that is with you. Blessings to you all, and thank you.